Now that the transfer window is behind us, it is time to figure out who is the top 10 incoming transfers that we've seen in the summer 2024 transfer window into the Premier League. In the video today, I'll be giving you my top 10, the moves that I think are going to be the most impactful throughout the season, the ones that are going to prove to be very shrewd business, you know, good bang for buck. Maybe even as time goes on, there might be a bit of a sell-on value. There is so much focus now on club business, PSR, financial fair play, UEFA squad ratio restrictions and everything else, that the finances around these transfers definitely do dictate how we're going to be thinking of them in terms of their success. At any point in the video today, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and of course get into the comment section on this one and let me know who you would add into this top 10 and subsequently who you would take out for it, because you know we'll definitely be revisiting this come the end of the season. So get your receipts in the comment section for who you think in this video could be a flop or someone that should have been included, and yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Now on the channel, we've been covering as many clubs across European football, and particularly the Premier League, as we possibly can. And I'm trying to focus on the ones that I find exciting, the ones I find interesting, the ones that I enjoy watching and will enjoy following their development. And I think one of the kind of surprise cases that came out this summer was Bournemouth, and they made some very interesting moves. And for me, in number 10 is Dean Howson. Now, Dean Howson does come into Bournemouth with a lot of fanfare and a bit of aplomb. Jose Mourinho has got some very famous quotes around the potential of this up-and-coming centre-back. But the Spain Youth International, you know, he's played a couple of times already in the first 3 games of the Premier League. He's showing the minerals of the attributes that he's going to bring into this Bournemouth team and ultimately into the Premier League. Now, with Bournemouth having, including Dean Howson, 3, you know, capable first-team centre-backs, it isn't beyond the realms of possibility that we see this sort of play pattern emerge for him throughout the season, where Andoni Iraola is going to perhaps play him in fixtures that, you know, lean more into the attributes that he brings versus either Sinise or Zabarnyi. But I think as the season goes on, Bournemouth will come to rely upon him more and more. And one of the things that makes this transfer into my top 10 is I think we could see Dean Howson in a season or 2 seasons be a huge outgoing transfer for Bournemouth, and will equally line their pockets and help the further redevelopment in their squad. So this is a player that I'm really excited to watch how he adapts to the Premier League, and I think is, like, along with Ivan Nielsen and a few of the other moves Bournemouth have made, you know, I think they've got a bit of an exciting season ahead, and it will be in no small part down to the style of play of Andoni Iraola and really what that brings out of the individuals in its team. And for Dean Howson, for me, is the incoming transfer that I think is going to work out to be one of the best ones for Bournemouth overall. And in at number 9, I can't believe I'm featuring a Chelsea player in this one, but I've got huge faith and belief, and I've been a bit of a stand for this guy for a while, and that is Jadon Sancho, finally on his way out from Man United. We've seen him go to the Champions League final on loan at former club Borussia Dortmund last year, and it feels like, especially if you've seen some of the interviews and some of the stuff he's been saying, that Chelsea is his hometown club, it's a team he supports. He knows Enzo Maresca from his time at being the Man City B team and the youth teams and all the rest of it, and it does feel to me that Jadon Sancho is a player that can play maybe not through the middle, but certainly in a number of positions in the attacking areas, that although Chelsea do have an abundance of quality and a big headcount on the amount of attacking players they've got, they're going to be competing as hard as they can in 4 competitions, and I think Jadon Sancho is going to feature regularly throughout the season in a number of different positions, and whether it be the Cups or whether it be the League, he's one of the most experienced players actually in this squad. The guy that's been to the Champions League final, he's won stuff in Germany, his Man United career, but we don't need to really talk about, of course. But I think this is a player that, you know, a lot of people have probably kind of half written off already. Chelsea's transfer business has been an absolute basket case. I don't think anyone's really expecting any of the incoming transfers to, you know, be head and shoulders above anyone else in particular. I think we're all expecting Chelsea to kind of fumble their way through the year and maybe eventually get into some sort of coherent pattern. And whether that happens or not, anyway aside, I think Jadon Sancho is going to be one of the top, you know, when we look back at this at the end of the season, it's going to be one of the top transfers that was made in this summer transfer window because of that experience, because of that kind of desire to the badge that he should bring to this Chelsea team, on top of his undoubted quality. And if you're sitting there thinking, Sancho lost it ever since he left Dortmund for Man United in the first place, you would be wrong. Since going back to Dortmund last year, like I mentioned, they got to the Champions League final, but Jadon Sancho firmly showed his individual quality. If you look at this dot chart here of his ratings of his performances out of 100 in the Bundesliga, Bundesliga and in the Champions League, very consistently breaking above 60s and 70s, and this is for his overall play, as well as including his decisive actions like goals and assists, and this is against all manner of opponents. This is home and away, easy games, tough games. He's not lost it. Talented players just need the right environment, the right system to work within. And like we've seen with him going back to Borussia Dortmund, an environment he felt comfortable in, that wanted him, that treated him like the sort of main player in the team that he is. I think he's going to get that similar kind of treatment at Chelsea. But the only difference, of course, is Dortmund is a bit more of a laboratory when it comes to football, and Chelsea has been on this channel anyway. I call them the comedy club. So there is always that room with Chelsea that the wheels could fall off at any given moment, but he's still got it, he's not lost it, and he just needs that environment to play week in, week out, whether it is on the right or the left. You know, he's even kind of up front here on the 2. And if he repeats this level of performance for Chelsea, I think quite comfortably it could be alongside Cole Palmer, maybe 1 or 2, one of the first names on the team sheet for them very quickly. Now, you might think I'm being a little bit biased with this one, but we've all seen the amazing transfer window from start to finish that Brighton really had. And for me, the transfer that stands out head and shoulders above the rest of them is going to be the most influential on Brighton's season is former Celtic player Matt O'Reilly. Now, this went for a Scottish transfer record fee. I'm obviously a huge Celtic fan, and I've watched every kick of this guy's career in the hoops, and I have got the utmost faith, the utmost belief that Matt O'Reilly is probably only going to be at Brighton for a season or 2 before making a move to one of the bigger teams in the league, or maybe somewhere else around Europe. He was attracting the interest of Atletico Madrid, Atalanta, and maybe even Juventus, depending on the reports you were reading in this summer already. So if he was to compound that reputation with some really strong Premier League performances, we've seen Brighton flip players for hundreds of millions already after a quick season in the Premier League showing some real success, because Matt O'Reilly's got great physical attributes, great technical ability, and a great in-game IQ. And I really do feel that he's going to be the guy that fills that Pascal Gross size void at Brighton, taking set pieces, being the main man in midfield. And I know what you're shouting, sitting there screaming at me now. He's injured, he's not even kicked a ball yet. A nasty tackle in the League Cup has seen him injured and he needs some ankle surgery. So we will need to wait a little bit for him to, you know, get up to speed in the Premier League, get back into the team, get fit, etc. But when he does, he's going to take the Premier League by storm. You heard it here first. After Ange Postecoglou's swashbuckling debut season in the Premier League, where by the time they got to Christmas, people were thinking, could they actually be in a bit of a title race here? Obviously qualifying for European football in 5th position, almost Champions League football. All eyes have been on them. Will Postecoglou really reinforce the squad in the summer, and will he get that second season kind of success that he's very much used to? But the main thing holding Tottenham back last year was their ability to score over 2 goals a game in some of those tighter matches where, yes, they do play all-out attacking football, but if you look back at the results and the actual statistics for everything, it was very rarely, compared to the likes of Newcastle when they were successful, Aston Villa that season as well, that they were able to break 3, 4, 5, 6 goals in a game. And I know 5s and 6s are quite rare at the best of time, but with Harry Kane leaving last summer, there's been a huge void to fill. And that's why, for me, Dominic Solanke has to make the top 10, because I think he is going to add a lot into this Tottenham team. We're going to see Tottenham score a lot more goals as the season progresses on, compared to what they did last year, because they were missing that arrowhead, that focal point, that big man striker, that fox in the box, the finisher, the guy who's going to put the chances away. And Dominic Solanke had a great season, his best season ever in the Premier League at Bournemouth last year, and he's made the mega money move to Tottenham in a system that really should suit him down to the ground. But this is a move that, at 55 million euros, it is hard to imagine that, or 55 million pounds, whatever it was, and Tottenham are ever going to sell him on for any sort of a profit. So this is a transfer that really has to make a material difference to, their success. Ultimately, are they going to win a cup? Are they going to go one better than the Premier League? Can they go far in the Europa League? This kind of thing. And at 26 years of age, he is a striker that's firmly coming into the peak of his powers. And if he can build on the sort of form that he finished last season with at Bournemouth, and, he's only played once so far for Tottenham already, he probably should have had a goal or 2 in that Leicester match. And until he returns, Tottenham will feel the weaker for it. But once again, similar to O'Reilly, I suppose, when he is fit and firing and back in the squad, I think we'll be looking back at this transfer as being one of the most significant in the Premier League in this summer's transfer window. Now, I'm a bit of a sucker for transfers that see guys that have never really had the opportunity to really spread their wings and really show their full potential. And I think for this summer, the #1 transfer that really does tick that box, certainly domestically within the Premier League is Emil Smith-Rowe finally leaving Arsenal on a permanent basis for Fulham, and he has hit the ground running in a big way. Emil Smith-Rowe has that kind of play style and has that whole sort of situation where it's giving me big Cole Palmer kind of vibes from last summer, leaving Man City for Chelsea. I think this will be a bit of a watered down version of that. Fulham are obviously going to try and get into those European spots, try and break into the top half of the table this year and improve on how they did last year. And under Silva, you know, they've been attacking, they've been really exciting and really fun to watch, and they really don't, you know, I wouldn't say they don't take prisoners or whatever, but they don't go into any game with a great degree of fear or trying to really alter their style of play for the most part. You know, whenever they come up against the bigger teams, they try and go punch for punch, they try and meet them, you know, on the football pitch, as it were. And Emil Smith-Rowe is a player that is used to being at the very top end of the game with Arsenal, playing with some of the best players in the world, and coming into Fulham, being the main man, being the main playmaker in that attacking midfield position. Like I've already said, he's hit the ground running. I think a lot of us maybe seen this coming if you've seen this guy kind of develop over the last little while. But if Fulham are going to break into the top 10, if they are going to have a better season this year than they did last, Emil Smith-Rowe's name is going to be on everyone's lips for one of the top transfers of the summer window, and for that reason he breaks into my top 6. I think he's in number 6, you know, so I think Emil Smith-Rowe is quite a safe pick for the top 10 as well. You know, no matter how you kind of think of some of these other players, I think he's definitely going to see himself in there, even from an improvement standpoint from what he did last year to this year, goals and assists, that sort of thing. But at 24 years of age, he's only getting started, and I say it's these types of moves where it's a guy that's maybe been like a caged bird, and then he gets that situation to spread his wings and go and fly. As a football fan, I just love seeing that, and I love seeing guys take those opportunities and, you know, blazing their own path for their own career. And I think, yeah, we'll be watching Emil Smith-Rowe with a lot of interest this year. Now, in number 5 is a very similar transfer in terms of that style and kind of narrative, that situation around it. But it's not a domestic one. It's not from a Premier League club to a Premier League club. It's from the continent coming into England. And this is a player that I've followed from afar and up and close and personal for about 4 or 5 years at this point. And I'm talking about King Carlos Soler, who has made the move to the London Stadium. He's moved to West Ham, and Julian Lopetegui's West Ham have had probably the best transfer window for me overall in terms of how they've managed to transform their squad, and we don't need to go into that in too much detail. But Carlos Soler is a captain. He's a captain level player in centre midfield. They've gave him the number 4 jersey, and you know, at Valencia, at Paris Saint-Germain, he has shown consistently to be a very good elite professional. Whether it come to, you know, being successful in duels, at Paris Saint-Germain he was used infrequently in the fullback positions as well. So a guy that, you know, in the defensive, doing the dirty work side of things, he's very capable at doing that. But in the midfield and in these fullback positions, when he does get time and space, his range of passing, his in-game IQ is absolutely phenomenal. I expect him when he breaks into the West Ham team to be the main set piece taker and be that kind of progressive midfielder that'll link defence into attack, and it'll only take West Ham to go on a good run of games, with Soler being one of the main playmakers in the team, one of the guys really shouldering the responsibility of getting the result of winning the match for them before everyone clicks on to how amazing a transfer this is for West Ham. Because make no mistake about it, this guy's career has been on pause for the last 2 years since he's been in Paris, and at 27 years of age he will be coming into the peak of his powers, and he's got a lot of time to be making up for. And I think the Premier League is going to be the perfect stage for Big Soler to get, I say Big Soler, he's not that big a guy, but King Carlos, as I like to call him, to get his career back on track and, you know, make his own name for himself, get back into the Spain team like he was before the Paris move. And yeah, like I say, I think he's going to be a fan favourite for West Ham fans in no time at all. Now, I didn't actually mean to link these players in this way, but similar to the way that Soler is like a real quality physical upgrade on James Ward-Prowse, but it's still a kind of similar style of player. In number 5, Amadou Onana is doing that job for Aston Villa. Douglas Luiz, of course, was a very early and significant departure in this transfer window to Juventus, and Amadou Onana has came in for a big chunk of change. High expectations, high reputation, and he has hit the ground running. His physical presence, his running power, his desire, his technical ability fits this Aston Villa team to a T, and it really does show that the Aston Villa midfield last year, the team overall, was missing this big increase in power and output in midfield. And I don't know if you can call this an upgrade on Douglas Luiz the same way we talk about Soler to James Ward-Prowse, but the different strings to his bow that Onana does bring into the team makes Aston Villa better, no two ways about it. And even in the likes of like Yuri Tielemans, John McGinn, Boob Camara, Ramsey, Rodgers, you know, the rest of that cohort Aston Villa have got in there, in Onana, they've got a guy that is distinctly different now and that can make the difference in those do-or-die matches against the top teams in the league, against the toughest teams in the Champions League. And Onana, for me, has got a big price tag, big expectations. Unai Emery, Monchi, Aston Villa, they've not got very many transfers wrong, especially the big money ones. And like I say, the guy's already hit the ground running. There's not too much proof in the pudding required. And he is Premier League proven. If you look at his results, his ratings out of 100 over the last season for Everton, as well as his first couple of games here for Aston Villa, he's definitely at the level. Everton, obviously, were in a much different situation, winning far less matches, conceding far more goals, which kind of restricts the rating system that we've got here. But already in 3 games for Aston Villa, he scored 2 goals in 2-1 victories. He's been a match winner already. I can't say enough. He's hit the ground running. He's clearly in the top 5 summer transfers, I think. And, you know, that's from early results. But I think also as the season pans out, that's only going to solidify even more. In number 3 is a transfer that happened very quickly in this transfer window. And, you know, from the minute go, I've had a lot of confidence that this is going to work out. And I think already from the early signs, everyone can kind of see that that will be the case. I'm talking about Ricardo Calafiori. Now, the reason Calafiori does come into this, especially so high in at number 3, is because Arsenal, the bridesmaids of the last couple of Premier League seasons, have been missing some sort of left-back solution. It's been one of the main problems that Arteta just has not been able to arrest. But Calafiori's range of passing is Italian catenaccio. You know, it's in his blood. Defensive skills that he's got, as well as composure and a great in-game IQ. And coming from a Bologna team last year, and you know, he's played for Roma, he's played in Switzerland, played at Bologna, he's played for teams that don't really resemble Arsenal, don't expect to have the majority of possession, are used to having their backs to the wall. And Bologna did qualify for the Champions League. They did exceptionally well last year, which is what got Calafiori into the Italy team, got him the move to Arsenal in the first place. But this is a guy that's coming from distressed clubs, distressed situations where defending is do or die, life or death stuff on the line. And he's got that extra bit of grit to his defensive skills that is going to complement Gabriel Magalhaes, is going to complement Saliba as well. But I think, yeah, he's going to be the best well-rounded option that Arsenal have had over the last couple of years in that left-back position. And left-backs are not going to win you the league, they're not going to win you very many matches. But with the margins being so fine for Arsenal's success in winning the title coming first, and how close they've been to coming, you know, when they finished second and not got the job done, these are the fine margins that they need to close the gap for. And Calafiori, for me, is number 3 at the moment transfer we've seen in this summer, because of the on-pitch impact in particular that I think he's going to have for Arsenal this year. In number 2 is another Arsenal transfer, if you can believe it, because Arsenal were very quiet in this window, and it was a quality over quantity approach, and it was waiting for the right opportunities to come in the market. And we've seen right at the very end of the market, they have managed to get Raheem Sterling on a loan with no fee attached, and they're covering a smidgen of a fraction of his huge wage packet at Chelsea. And Arteta and Sterling obviously know each other extremely well from their Man City days, and this has given me huge deja vu from when Jesus and Zinchenko first came into the Arsenal fold, and how it did really lift them into being in the reckoning for the title, getting into second already, because they'd been there, they'd ran the course, they'd won the titles with City and with Pep. They're familiar with Arteta, they know the style of play, they know what's expected on and off the ball, defensively and offensively. And Sterling just ticks all these boxes. At 29 years of age, he's got all the experience you would want. And especially for the situation currently in his career, I think he'll be quite happy to even just come into the fold here at Arsenal. Maybe he doesn't start every week, but he'll probably feature every week, whether that be from the bench or from the start. And a guy that has been, you know, very formidable across all front 3 positions. I know Havertz is really making that false 9 position his own, but in a doomsday scenario, you know, Sterling can cover the whole front line, essentially. So this is a move that I don't know if it lifts the level on the best 11 at Arsenal, but it certainly raises the quality they've got in their best 16 and their best 17 for that 5 subs rule to really kick in across the Premier League and all the other competitions that they're going to be competing in. And because of the treatment and stuff like that, it's not like Raheem Sterling's just coming out of Man City and he's used to playing 70 games a season, and maybe, you know, he's been running on empty or something like that. Kind of similar to Sorare and maybe 1 or 2 other people we spoke about in this video. He's not been ever present over the last, like, this is 6 or 7 months at least at this point. So this is a guy, again, that's got a lot of motivation to, like, prove the doubters wrong, as it were. He'll be really motivated to go and try and win another Premier League or another set of trophies, another set of medals with another Premier League club to kind of enhance his own reputation and legacy, of course, as well. And he should be raring to go at this point, to be quite honest with you. So I think, you know, at number 2, it's maybe a lofty ranking, a lofty rating perhaps in your estimations or whatever. But if Arsenal were to go the distance, they were to close that gap to City, we will look at Calafiori, we will look at Sterling as being the difference. And if the difference is becoming second and first, they are high value transfers, high level important transfers that you know, if you don't make them, you don't win the league. So I think Arsenal, I don't know if I would quite go to say I think they will win the league this year, but it should be even tighter than last year, which is incredible to think at this point. And the reason I can't quite go that extra length to say, yeah, it's probably time that City didn't win the league again. Arsenal are doing everything right, and, you know, with these transfers buttoning up some of the gaps and some of the holes they've got in their squad, maybe this will make the difference. Man City are a bit weaker with Alvarez not in the squad anymore with his departure, but the number one signing I think we've seen this summer in the Premier League is the return of Silky Ilkay Gundogan back to Manchester City. Now, at 33 years of age on a free transfer, this might not be the one you would expect him to be in number one, but I do believe Man City are going to pick up 2 trophies or more again this year, and we're going to see Gundogan back in the heart of it. He's done his sabbatical in Barcelona to tick that off his bucket list. That he's played at the Nou Camp and he's played for Barca, and, you know, all that stuff that players just seem to want to do when they get to like 32 or whatever it is. But he's missed home. He's missed the environment of Man City. He's missed winning every week. And with Kovacic and Rico Lewis definitely shown that they can carry the water in this squad in that kind of position that he occupies in the pitch as well. There's less pressure on him at 33 to play every week, and, you know, with the different kind of evolution we've seen in the Man City squad, maybe we see him a little bit closer to the striker. I'm not saying he's going to play that Julian Alvarez role, but can he be a bit more of a foil off of Haaland? It's another option that will be at Man City's disposal. But I think bringing a club legend back to the club, a proven Premier League winner, to help you compete on all 4 fronts that City will compete in. Like, there's not too many other players available in this window, and that's one of the key details here, that City could have reasonably got in to, you know, keep that high level in the squad that they've had. I think they maybe would have liked somebody like Paqueta, Bruno Guimaraes, but with FFP restrictions, maybe pending sanctions or whatever, in some other different situations, you know, I think they've recoiled a little bit in this window, and they've tried to be extra safe. They've tried to just do the necessary business. If a transfer comes up, an opportunity happens, then they would kind of move into action. They would sort of pounce. We've seen that with some of the Wonder Kids stuff like Echeverri and a few other guys and all the rest of it. But again, when City get into their groove and they get like 8 wins on the bounce and they're beating everyone by 3s and 4s, we're going to see Gundogan back in the goals and assists. We're going to see him back influencing matches. And again, people are just going to be pointing back to this window and saying, is that the best summer signing that we've seen in this window? Re-signing Ilkay Gundogan for free. It's going to be really hard to argue against that, I think. Don't forget to get into the comment section in this one and let me know what I got right and wrong, or what you think you would have added into this. On screen there now is some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one.